All right, guys, we are live. I think. Just double checking here. We should be live.
Says offline.
All right, give it a second. Oh, here we go. We should be good to go. All right. So I'm going to ask if you guys want to share this out. Yeah, we'll get this thing underway. Feel free to share this wherever you guys can. And we will do ABA playoffs, not progs. What am I saying? ABA playoffs. I've heard a rumor that my Cardiff team might be doing really well this season, and I'm not at all not taking credit for that. I may have only acquired a few players on the team, but obviously it's definitely my team, if you know what I'm saying. That being said, I'm pretty excited for these playoffs. I think that this is the first playoffs in a while where anyone could win. I know everyone wants to say, hey, Cincinnati's probably the favorite, but Cincinnati's been the favorite like 4 times in ABA, and they've never won a finals. They've only made the finals once, I think. In a lot of my test sims, all different teams have won. Tijuana was an early favorite of mine, and I think that they might be one of the best teams in the league. And I feel like the East could be ripe for a lot of upsets. So anyway, guys, with that, we will get into it momentarily here. I am joined by Dan. Dan, give me your round 1 series predictions.
So I'll start with the West Coast, Best Coast. I definitely think Belgrade will beat Hawaii. Minnesota should handle Las Vegas, no problem. Snohomish and Singapore, as much as I want to say Snohomish, I'm expecting Singapore in 5 or 6.
Really? Wow.
I expect Tokyo over Vancouver, and that's for the West.
Yep.
On the East side, I see Cleveland taking Rio in 6 or 7. New York Nets over Carolina. Providence should handle Philly. Charlotte should easily handle Chicago.
Yeah. I will
In fact,
say...
Charlotte's actually a favorite of mine to win the entire thing.
Really? So, here are my
we'll
predictions. I predict Belgrade in 5. Unfortunately, with Penetrator out, I don't see any way Hawaii, which would have won if Penetrator was healthy, I don't see any way in which they win. I'm going to say Minnesota in 4. I'm going to say Snohomish in 5. I don't know what Dan's on, but I'm going to say Snohomish in 5. I'm going for his own team there. And I'm going to say Vancouver beats Tokyo in 7. Cleveland will beat Rio de Janeiro in 7 as well. New York is going to sweep Carolina. I don't see that going any other way. I think Providence will win in 5 against Philly, and I do like Charlotte a lot more than I like Chicago, but I'll say it's a 5-game series. With that, let us sim Game 1. All right, first victory here. Belgrade beats Hawaii, no surprise. Minnesota, they also beat on Vegas. Snohomish does pick up the win over Singapore, and Tokyo does beat Vancouver. Cleveland beats Rio de Janeiro. We really got no surprises here. New York beats Carolina. Providence beats Philadelphia. And Charlotte beats Chicago. No surprises at all. We will sim one more game here, guys. That was I think this is the first time we've ever simmed and not had a single upset at all. All right. 2 games in, and gentlemen, you are all, or gentlemen and ladies, you are all going to be very bored here. It is still the favorites winning every game. Belgrade picking up a win, Minnesota a win, Snohomish the win, Tokyo the win, Cleveland the win, New York the win, Providence the win, and Charlotte the win. We'll do one more, and then we're going to have to take a look at some of these series and see if injuries could be affecting them.
I was actually wondering if we could start with the Snohomish-Singapore series, because that's the one that really surprised me.
So both games...
Are there any injuries?
The 2 games have come down to 3 points between the 2 games. And Jay Kumar has been balling out. They made the interesting decision to not play coronavirus during the last game. He was a starter for them during the season. And Tanner Giddings and co, they just went off and had a very well-rounded game. David Manning, of course, coming up big, and Chris Paul being one of the better defensive guards. Blake Anthony can be credited with the game winner in Game 2. Looking at Game 1 here, it was not a game winner. We did have some injuries to Singapore and a horrible performance by Jay Kumar due to fouls. We'll take a look at the another series I'm interested in here. We'll actually take a look at the Tokyo series here. It had an overtime game in which Tokyo won, and a sizable blowout by Tokyo in the other game. The overtime game, Ty Wolfenbarger actually put them into OT. That's kind of insane right there.
Look at that fourth quarter. Vancouver gained 7 points on them.
Damn,
to be
Vancouver
extended
coming
into
back.
overtime.
Yeah, Jordan Smith is Jordan Smith. Like, honestly, one of the most impressive individual seasons we've seen in recent memory from like a non-superstar. Yeah, we'll do one more game, then we'll check in on each series. So here we go, game 3. All right, we got some upsets finally, some excitement. Hawaii does beat Belgrade. You think there's any chance that Hawaii could take the series, or do you think that Belgrade will take advantage of the 2-1 lead?
Well, I don't know. Jimmy McCabe looks like he's injured for Belgrade. That is not what you want to see.
This is true.
Although I don't think it should have. I don't think it'll be enough to carry the series in Hawaii's favor. I think it does give them a chance.
So what I'm thinking here, McCabe's out 2 games. Penetrator's back. Granted, he didn't play well. Jacobs is playing well. I'm inclined to say Hawaii might be able to pull this off. I think this could go to 6 or 7. We'll see. This might be more of a series than it looked like it was going to be.
I will say Russell Rogers is playing way down to what he should be playing. He had a great season on the bench, and that last game, really, he needs to show up and be better if they're going to win with their player out. So,
looking at Minnesota and Vegas, Minnesota has blown out Vegas in 3 straight games. Sherman Sutton's going off, but let's just be honest here. Did anyone think it was going to go any other way? I mean, this Minnesota team's a juggernaut. Sherman Sutton, though, did have a phenomenal season.
Record for regulation points scored?
No. We've had I think we had an over 200-point game once.
Yeah, but in regulation, 145 points. Oh my goodness.
It's pretty high. We'll take a look at that after the playoffs. Looking here, we got Singapore with an upset as predicted by Snohomish GM Dan. A great game from Tanner Giddings, but it's offset by Axel Moore, Jay Kumar, and Taron Forty, the big 3 having big games. And Corone Avaris with 11 rebounds in 13 minutes. Can't count him out. He's a vital piece of that team. So with that, we will take a look. Tokyo up 3-0 over Vancouver in another overtime game. This is a close series, but Jordan Smith is proving to be true and a star here. In this case, Will Gibbs, who's really been his co-star in this series, also coming up big. We'll go take a look in the East here. Rio de Janeiro picks up a must-win game for them. And they do that largely thanks to bad game from the big 3, so to speak, for Cleveland offensively. Taking a look over at Rio here, George Mikan, one of the most efficient big men in league history, continuing his domination against Cleveland here. Taking a look at Carolina's surprising victory against New York in a very low-scoring game. Jordan Rudolph had 21 rebounds, 3 blocks, a steal, putting up a monster defensive line, but it is not enough. Meanwhile, Patrick Sullivan is probably one of the most underrated stars in the league right now. Him and Eugene Mackey have great games, and Jake James also having a great game. Granted, we are not seeing playoff Jake James. I don't know if you guys remember, we had playoff Jake James for a couple seasons where he averaged insane numbers for Chicago and Tampa Bay in the playoffs, but we're really not seeing it here. Taking a look here, we got Philadelphia picking up one against Providence. Kind of surprised by that. Providence had a strong season. Huge stat line. 35-11, 6. Yeah, 35-11, 6-3-6. Garnett almost 5 times 5ing. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
he was 2 steals away from a 5x game.
And 1 turnover away from a 6.
This is true. This was one of the greatest performances I've seen, honestly, in recent playoff history. But I don't think it's...
so. But at the end of the day, Philadelphia took the early advantage, and look at that game. You were talking about how he might have gotten a 5x game.
Yeah, we got
Hawkins got it.
Hawkins is
almost
46.
a triple double.
Yeah.
With 46 points, 10 assists. You're gonna have to get those type of games every single time from your stars if you're gonna come back in this series, Philadelphia.
Yeah, Hawkins is a beast.
Great game by
KG.
EKG, but at the end of the day, if someone is playing like that, it does not matter.
Meanwhile,
that is not a good injury for Chicago.
Chicago with a sizable injury and bad ball handling performance by Alex Hood. Granted, he still looks like a superstar. We'll take a look at the Fernandez injury here. He'll be out probably the rest of the team's season. It's a pretty sizable loss for a rotation big man. You don't like to see injuries affecting the playoffs, but I don't think that really affected it here. So we'll go into our first elimination game. Teams on the line here: Vancouver, Chicago, Vegas, all playing to stay alive, and we'll see who will be the first to go home in the 2041 playoffs here, guys. And boom. All right, starting it off here. Belgrade picks up a much-needed victory to stave off Hawaii's potential comeback. Keep in mind, McCabe is back in 2 games. I think Belgrade might have the series. Minnesota, they sweep Vegas. We'll take a look, see if they avoided injury. They sort of did. Josh Jones goes out, but he'll be back for next series most likely. Unfortunately, what was a fairly promising step in the right direction for Vegas ends pretty early. And Minnesota will probably be a juggernaut in these playoffs, and I'd be a little scared if I was Denver. Taking a look here, Singapore ties the Snohomish series. This might be a series. Dan may have projected this correctly here, despite a big game from David Manning and a continually solid performance by Tanner Giddings and Chris Paul. Singapore gets the game they needed out of Alex Moore. Has been kind of quiet in this series so far, but he goes off for 38 points.
30. Oh my goodness.
He's a high-volume shooter. What can you say?
Here's what I have to say about Snohomish Singapore. Snohomish is the deeper team, and I do think Snohomish is set up to be very successful over many seasons. But if you look at the top of Snohomish and you look at the top of Singapore, it's not even close. Singapore has the advantage. Singapore is one of the best 11 seeds I've seen in recent memory. Singapore has the top level players, and in the playoffs, when you need those top level players to make plays and they crank it up, that's ultimately why I gave Singapore the advantage. We'll see what happens. It's a close series. I predict Snohomish to lose, but taking the first 2 games is a welcome step for them. So we will see in game 5.
Looking at Tokyo, they lose without Ziga, their first game of the series. Jordan Smith goes off, but that shows you how important Ziga is. Not only did he play bad in this game, but he gets hurt, and they lose. First loss they've suffered in the series here. Actually, the first playoff loss in Bushido history. I'm a big fan of Ziga, frankly. He was one of the advanced stage rookies, but he's put up good stats for them over 2 seasons. And it was very underrated. The loss of him in the playoffs there is pretty rough, but at least he'll be back for next game. Taking a look at the East, Rio has now come back from a 2-0 deficit, tying the series 2-2. An incredibly weird stat line from Isaiah Thomas, who puts up 14, 8, 5 turnovers, but with 4 steals. A defensive showing, not an offensive one. Strange to say the least. But the Cleveland Rebels...
I don't know if it was defensive, because look at that plus-minus.
Yeah.
That
Rough
is not something you want to see. And especially from Holt, who's one of your star players.
Yeah, they got some...
36. How can you expect to win a game when you got that?
They got some real bad stat lines. Meanwhile, you take a look out here for Rio, and it's Umberto time. Umberto shooting 9 for 9 from the free throw line, finishes with 39 points, 12 assists, 5 steals, and frankly, Mikan is the god of efficiency. He's shooting 11 for 14 in this one, and Mikan is just a perfect star for Rio here. And they're now in a pretty good position. Taking a look at New York, they are up now 3-1 over Carolina. Meanwhile, Providence does take a 3-1 lead as well. And Chicago magnificently steals a game from Charlotte, who had been destroying them to this point. Rex Padden had a good game, but Gordon Hayward didn't show up. Chicago had a monster third quarter, as Dan points out.
Yeah.
And it's Pete Mahorn Jr. and James Harden, 6th man of the year probably, who, he does it. And don't say he's shooting free throws. He ain't. He's actually doing stuff. James Harden had a pretty solid season this year, showing a step in the right direction as potential great 6th man. He might not be the superstar he is in real life, but he's definitely a real quality player for them. And with that, we will take a look at Game 5 here. All right. we got some big movers. First up, Belgrade does knock off Hawaii as predicted, winning in convincing fashion. Once again, Penetrator missing a game due to injury here. Penetrator just cannot stay healthy these days. He's aging. He's the all-time leader in points, but he's getting caught up by McGillen real quick. And Penetrator is going to go down as having been a great, but I don't know if he will be able to call himself the greatest player in Hawaii history definitively forever, because he never got them over the hump here. Meanwhile, we take a look at Belgrade, and Russell Rogers, he comes through. A 26-point explosion for Belgrade, and they'll be going on to the next rounds. Taking a look at the rest of the playoffs here. Singapore now leads. Dan may have predicted his own demise. Alex Moore with 33 points in this one. Taran Forty with 22 and 10. And that's despite getting a 0 from one of their starters. Meanwhile, you take a look over at Snohomish here, and they had an okay performance from their big three. My bad. Chris Paul not there. Chris Paul really struggling in this game, just 1 for 4 from deep. Dan, do you think Snohomish is in a corner?
I think they are, as I said before. I mean, you really need players like Podesta to step up, and frankly, they just haven't. You're going to need everyone to step up, and if Chris Paul is struggling this series like he has been, even though I'm pretty sure he's racking up steals.
He is.
I think ultimately you need more than just that effort. And you need more than what Chris Paul has provided to win in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens in Game 6.
Taking a look at Tokyo, they do knock out Vancouver here. We'll see if they advance okay. This isn't really unexpected. Vancouver is deep, but Tokyo just had a phenomenal year led by Jordan Smith and Ziga and Gibbs. They're kind of homegrown big three of sorts here, and they pick up convincing victory. They stay healthy. Maybe they'll make some noise.
Bobby was the hero of that game.
We actually get, this is kind of crazy, the most recent 2 expansion teams are going to meet in the playoffs in each of their teams' first seasons, I think. I think this is Cardiff's first time making the playoffs, right? Yeah. They will play. Cardiff's first ever series will be against the expansion team who technically beat them to the playoffs by playing a series before them. But that's so cool that the last 2 expansion teams are meeting up this soon. Meanwhile, we got Cleveland and Rio de Janeiro. Let's take a look here. Cleveland smacked Rio pretty hard. Flora went.
Might hurt.
Yeah, it will miss a game. Then I don't know if I think it's safe to say Cleveland has that in the bag. New York, meanwhile, they won by 9. Honestly, a disappointing series for them. To be so close. Eugene Mackey continuing to play great. Damian Savage showing significant signs of slowing down, and Patrick Sullivan putting up some okay stats. Meanwhile, we take a look at New York. Jordan Rudolph's a beast, probably a future MVP candidate, and we're actually seeing a little bit from former New York superstar Sean Matthews. In case you guys aren't familiar with him, he was a big-time New York star when they were Edmonton, and then he left right as he started to decline into mediocrity. And now he's back and having his best season in a long time for them at age 30. We'll see if New York can go anywhere this season post 40.
I do just want to say that the X factor for New York is going to be Ume. If Ume plays well, New York can beat anyone.
New York's taking a look at New York here. Their point guard rotation: Uma, Tissafac, Matthews. All these guys were at one point thought to be potential superstars, and here we are with them, all having different roles on this team. But it's really been a group effort to replace 40, and so far I think it's been effective.
But Ume can also be known to disappear sometimes.
This is
true.
true.
I know personally. He still has negative win shares on Snohomish.
That's crazy.
And so, really, in the playoffs, we'll see what New York is made of, and ultimately the X factor is going to be Ume.
Providence wins their first ever playoff series. Congrats to Ricky. Brady Gosselin comes up big, 24-10 at 4-4 line. and that sinks Philadelphia. It ends on a weird note for Philly here as Jermaine Hawkins finishes with 22, 13, and 10, but the man is old, and they will need to act soon if they're to capitalize on his now 33-year-old superstar. Frankly, this was a great season for him. He's been incredibly all over the place in his career, but he's probably one of the best scorers in recent memory. Future Hall of Famer for sure.
Great all-stars on 4 different teams is incredible.
Yeah.
That's just unbelievable.
All right. And next up here, we take a look at Charlotte that does knock off Boston. They win by 3 here, and you hate to see it, but another major injury affecting Chicago here.
Charlotte looking for injuries because this game's a little close for a home game for Charlotte.
Gordon Hayward goes for 42 and 10. Rex Patton kind of struggles offensively.
I guess their bench just didn't show up at all.
Yeah. All right, with that, we will go to Game 6. We got some close series here, maybe some Game 7s. All right, we will have at least one Game 7. But the biggest upset here, Singapore does knock off Snohomish in kind of surprising fashion, losing 2 and then winning 4 straight. David Manning plays phenomenal, but Chris Paul continuing to not show up when they need him the most. They have a lot of cap room in the offseason. I wouldn't put it past them to potentially move CP3 to pull in another star. We'll see what GM Dan and co. do there. Meanwhile, Alex Moore and Jay Kumar both putting up sizable lines here and knocking them out there. So with that, we will move on.
I just want to say one thing about Snohomish first. I really want to give credit to my co-GM, Arshav, who really helped put together a team that vastly exceeded expectations and really plays well off of each other. If you look at their talent rankings, Snohomish is not the greatest in talent, but we consistently overperformed, and in fact, they're below Singapore in talent. And we consistently overperformed, and that's due to some great buy-in by the players who work well together, and more important, great buy-in from the general managers.
So with no other games occurring, we only had the Cleveland game, and that puts into Game 7. Are you guys ready?
I don't know how Rio won that last one.
Let me know in the comments section, Rio or Cleveland. Let me know. Who you got? Dan, who you got?
I mean, I want to stick with Cleveland, but I still don't know how Rio won that last game.
We can take a look at that.
It looks like they had a sizable injury disadvantage.
A blowout.
Oh my goodness, it was not even close.
Umberto and Mike.
Wait, did Cleveland get an injury?
Nope. Like? No injury. They had
I just really don't
Emmanuel
understand.
King fouled out, but after 25 minutes.
I guess look at their starters. Look at those bottom 3 starters. You cannot have that.
Yeah.
You absolutely cannot have that in a playoff game if you're going to succeed at the top levels.
Meanwhile, Umberto goes off.
What's the combined game score of those 3 players?
10.3.
10.3.
It would have been lower than all but Tim Warford's on Rio.
Exactly. You can't win in the playoffs with those type of performances. Cleveland, I hope you can pick it up from here.
I got Rio. Let's see this. Let's go. It's loading. There we go. All right. End of Q1. End of Q2. At halftime, it's a blowout in Rio's favor.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, it is. It is a utter trouncing. Oh, a 30-point victory. The less said about it, the better, I suppose.
Umberto.
Oh
my goodness. Let's take a look back at the Cleveland team, though. A little bit better showing by some of their players, but ultimately inconsistencies.
Emmanuel King with a horrible performance. And yeah, Cleveland gets eliminated. So here we go. We'll take a look at the playoffs here. All right, Dan, predictions. Melbourne, Belgrade.
So I would like to point out that I only got one wrong. I
Which
pretty much predicted every series except I expected Cleveland to win out of it. I'm going to say Belgrade over Melbourne.
Really? All right.
Yes.
So we got one conspiracy
Belgrade
here.
is a much better team than their record. And It's shown by the fact that they somehow managed to climb all the way to 8, even though they could have very well been 11 or 12. And so their team is really good, and I expect they've been underperforming all year, just as much as I expect Melbourne's overperformed. I say Belgrade in 7.
What do you think about Denver versus Minnesota?
Minnesota in 5 or 6.
Tijuana versus Singapore.
I'm going to go with Tijuana, as much as I don't like the Tijuana team that they've built.
Cardiff versus
And
Tokyo.
I will take Cardiff over Tokyo.
Cincinnati over Rio.
Cincy should do it. No problem.
Kentucky, New Jersey, or New York.
This is a really tough one, because I think New York Nets, if they play out of their mind, they can beat Kentucky. But I also think that there's more volatility on New York.
Flint,
So I'm gonna go
Providence.
with Providence,
Charlotte, Detroit.
Charlotte.
All right, so these are mine. I got Melbourne, Mini, Tijuana, Tokyo, Cincy. I want to say Kentucky because New York is always disappointing, but I'm going to say New York on this one. I'm going to say Flint beats Providence, and I'm going to say Charlotte beats Detroit. Let's do this.
Let's look at that Charlotte-Detroit series real fast.
Yeah.
Because
91 team rating versus
what's it gonna be? It's gonna be an incredible series. First off,
it has
and
potential.
Charlotte plays above their overall. Like Charlotte. I don't really know how they got to 7 seed, but I really think that they're capable of honestly winning the whole thing if they play up to their potential. So
Let's do it.
we'll see.
All right, so starting from the top, Melbourne picks up against Belgrade. Denver beats Minnesota. Tijuana beats Singapore. Tokyo beats Cardiff. Take a look at that one right here. It's a 4-point victory. Jordan Smith having a solid game. Robbins coming out and having a good game. And makes up for a horrible game by Ziga and Gibbs no-show. Meanwhile, for Cardiff here, Fajmason goes off for 41. But Roderick, the goose egg here, not a single field goal made, and that hampers them.
That's not what you want to see from
Yeah.
a star player. And he'll get better. I have faith in him.
Yeah, that's rough, real rough actually. All right. Meanwhile, Charlotte beating Detroit in convincing fashion. That's kind of crazy. Rex Padden going off. They didn't even need a big game from Gordon Hayward here. Just Padden goes off. And Padden and E.J. Peterson had a game of the century against each other. This could be one of the greatest 1v1s.
17 free throws.
Yeah, hard-nosed E.J.
More than half of his points were free throws.
Hey.
And he hit 50% of his shots. But ultimately, I don't know if it goes to showdown level with the game that Patton just had. The absurd game that Patton just had.
We'll see. Providence takes one from Flint in an upset here. 3-point victory. I gotta credit Ricky's team here. KG with a 19-19 7-block game as the defensive anchor here. And Kyle Korver, he's not even needing to do much for this team. It's Brady Glosson who's really become a star for them. And Providence is in good spot here. Kentucky does beat New York, and Cincy does beat Rio. With that, we will go to game 2, guys. Boom. Belgrade up 1. Belgrade does pick up the victory here, going substantial
and look at that.
victory.
Includes them with an injury. 2 injuries.
Yeah, with 2 injuries, and they have a substantial lead. McGillen goes for 33, which is kind of low, 19-3. Kind of shocked there. Melbourne getting stunned. Taking a look here, Denver up 2-0, Tijuana up 2-0, Singapore down 2-0 against Tijuana. Cardiff does pick up the victory against Tokyo. Cincy now leads 2-0, Kentucky 2-0. Flint picks up a victory, tying the series, and Detroit a victory. With that, we will go into game 3. Big game here. All right, Melbourne takes the lead. We'll take a look, see if there's any injuries affecting that series. Melbourne did need this victory, in my opinion. They were risking getting into a bad spot. McGillen with the triple-double with 5 blocks. and despite injuries, I don't want to rule them out already, but Belgrade's in a pretty tough spot. We saw a good game from Richard Wright, but they don't really got anyone that can play against McGillen here. And seeing a negative 2.3 game score from a starter, Russell Rogers.
I think Lipnitz could be a decent check on McGillen, but he needs to do better than he did tonight.
Yeah. Looking at the Denver-Minnesota series, Minnesota has a fairly strong squad.
Do you have injuries? Because I just have not seen this coming at all.
No major injuries. Jacob Gardner here, Jeremy Walker, both, having good games. Jeremy Walker really come into his own here. 29 points in 30 minutes. What can I say other than they probably...
Those stat lines are what you want to see.
Yeah, it's just a good game. Singapore steals one, stays alive. They beat Tijuana here. Bill Murray, of course, having a big game for Tijuana. Irfan having a huge 2020 game. That's kind of crazy, actually. Meanwhile, for Singapore, Alex Moore with 38 points, 12 rebounds. And of course, Corona Avaris with nothing, basically. Alex Moore and Jay Kumar are doing their thing, but I think it might be too little too late. And Tokyo picks up a shocking second victory here, winning by 1 point. There wasn't a game-winning shot, unfortunately, though we can assume it was Jordan Smith most likely with the season he's had. Steph Curry, meanwhile, with 35 and 10. And I gotta say, this was a comeback victory, too, by Tokyo. Cardiff might be in a pretty tough spot now. Meanwhile, we'll take a look here. Rio de Janeiro picks up a huge victory over Cincinnati. They kind of needed that to even have a chance. Granted, Cincinnati's missing one of their rotation big men, and they didn't get particularly great games from any of their starters. And Umberto is, incredibly efficient, high-quality player. But frankly, with these stat lines, I'm surprised by the victory by Rio. They just didn't have any amazing performances, and I'd even argue...
I think it was just a poor game by Cincinnati, and they'll need to clean it up, but I still don't think it's a significant dent in their chances in this round.
All right, and with that, we will take a look. New York picks up a game against Kentucky. They needed that big time. Axel Blaze with 41 points and a 14-point, 26-rebound game from Tyler O'Grady. That's crazy. And Brandon Guillen with 22-7-7. This big three is a formidable squad. Granted, 2 points from Billy Bogues is not ideal. New York, meanwhile, they got a big game from Hogan, who stepped up to the plate, and Jordan Rudolph continuing to be a beast. He had a 4x5 game in this one with 20, 13, 6, and 6. It was 4 steals away from a 5X. Sean Vortex coming in big off the bench here. Suddenly New York's not in too bad a position, but I don't know if they have a chance to win the series. Remains to be seen. Flint is currently in the lead 2-1 against Providence, but is missing 2 of their starters. I would say Providence will likely win the series because of those injuries, if for nothing else.
Let's look at Providence's team. Yeah, they're looking clean.
Yeah, injury clean. KG playing great. 16, 18, 5-3 game. And with that, we will take a look at Detroit-Charlotte. Detroit's now won 2 games. This one went into overtime, a 34-point game with 14 free throw attempts from E.J. Peterson, showing down against Rex Patton, who had 35, 10, 13, and 4. It is a battle between the leader of Detroit and the leader of Charlotte, but Detroit has a much better rotation around him, and that's why they're winning here. We saw Smart was actually the second best player, with Stokes taking a big backseat due to fouling. And Detroit was still able to pick up the victory. All right, so that brings us to Game 4, probably the biggest game so far. We'll see what occurs here. We are joined by Goose and Didi now as well. All right, so starting from the top, Melbourne now up 3-1. Denver up 3-1. They dropped that game against Minnesota. You guys got any concerns? They do have Jacob Gardner out the rest of the series. You think they could be in dire straits? Josh Jones also out the rest of the series for Minnesota.
I think Minnesota could come back. If
no concern at all.
Coming back, it's Minnesota.
I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can do it. I'm writing them off here, but we'll see.
Oh, Yeah, they're definitely not doing it.
Tokyo
I
up
just
3
now,
to
I just
1.
now looked at their roster. Yeah, they're failing right now.
Tokyo up 3 to 1 over Cardiff. Cardiff's entire team playing poorly in this one here, especially Fajmison. And they are now in a hole. And this was really just a good game by the bench, especially Ty Godber. And that, Tokyo now has all the momentum in that series. Cincinnati leads 3 to 1 against Rio. New York has now taken 2 straight against Kentucky and making this a real series. Granted, it did take an Axel Blaze injury to win by 1 point on a Maurice Hogan game winner. Shout out to Hogan for that one. This has got
looks. I want to go back to Kentucky, New York, because the X factor that I gave has absolutely proven to be the case tonight, and that's Steve Ume. Ume, at his best, brings this team to title contention level. But can he sustain it up for the rest of the series and for the rest of the playoffs?
We shall see. Providence picks up a victory. No surprise there. I mean, Autry and Ross both hurt. Brady Glosson had a 30-10 game. Providence is probably going to take that series. And Charlotte roars back, tying the series with a big victory here. E.J. Peterson just 17, and every other starter held the single digits. That's insane. They held a 70 overall to a 9-9 game.
No. Let's look at Detroit. They had 3 bench players in double digits. They still lost. Look at those numbers from their bench. 21, 11, and 11 from their bench. And they still lost. That just really just shows how good Hayward and Patton are together.
Well, in this game, it was all Hayward. 55 points. The man having a man-on-a-mission game. Gordon Hayward's a beast here. And with that, guys, we will look at Game 5. Here we go.
Now, I have something to say about Cardiff real quick. So I remember when Cardiff was first introduced, you said that they would at most be a playoff team, nothing more, which kind of cracks me up. They're the 2nd seed.
Yeah, I'm not really even running them. JJB's kind of doing that on the side a little bit, but it's kind of just lucky progs, and I think we had one good trade this year, and a big free agent that progged well. So, taking a look here, Belgrade with a huge victory over Melbourne. They now trail 2-3, but
and this happened on the road.
Conway with a sizable injury. McGillen with a 50-point showing. I'm not concerned if I'm Melbourne. Meanwhile,
no, I'd be concerned because go back to that game.
1 second. First, we gotta look at this.
Had 50 points, and he was -5 in the plus minus.
Damn.
That goes to show that
they lost by 6.
They were able to cover McGillen and make it. Even though he scored a ton of points, at the end of the day, they were better than the Melbourne team with McGillen on the floor. And I think it goes to show they do have a chance in this series.
Oh, no. I disagree on that. We'll take a look at the Minnesota game here. Minnesota up 4 over Denver. They've now won 2 straight. Didi, are you worried?
I'm not worried, but go to my roster so I know who to replace Gardner with. Oh, Chunky missed a lot of the game, so I'm not concerned.
He's not concerned. Injuries happen, but he's not concerned.
Hey, start Martin over Eula.
All right. Denver making a lineup change here. Can somebody check to see if there's any other lineup changes?
Are we allowed to do lineup changes mid-series?
Yeah. That's but people rarely ever post it. Normally they ping me when they do it. Who'd you want to start?
Start Martin over Eula.
Martin? Who's Martin?
Gardner's out, so...
You don't have a Martin, though.
Martin. Hayden Martin.
Wait.
Replace him with Gardner.
Oh, Hayden? Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I was looking at your team, and I was like, I don't see a Martin on your team. That's bad.
Replace him with Gardner. Or just leave him right there.
Yeah. That's how that works.
Still start.
All right. I'll just double check lineups, but I didn't see any changes last I checked. Yeah, no.
Rio won that last game.
All
I
right.
think that's what we're into.
Tokyo lost to Cardiff. Rio did pick up a victory there. 1 second. I need to refresh. Oh.
I kind of want to touch back on Belgrade because I cannot say this enough. McGillen had about as good of a game as he could possibly have, and Belgrade still won, which is just kind of astounding to think about. And really shows that Belgrade's ceiling is insanely high.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we will take a look at actually Kentucky picked up the victory and Cincy. Flint picked up a surprising victory there, and Charlotte, they're the biggest upset here. Charlotte has now won 2 straight. A great game from Gordon Hayward, but Rex Patton's triple-double probably is what did them in. E.J. Peterson with a 24-point game, but I think it would be an understatement to say that Stokes has been a no-show in this series. You guys think Charlotte can win up 3-2 against Detroit?
I mean,
I 100% think they can win. In fact,
Yeah.
I have them winning the next game, and sorry to say to Hale, but I just think that Charlotte deserved to be much higher, and really just an unfortunate bounce drawing them.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to play them at some point.
Here we go, guys. One more game. All right, we got Melbourne knocking off Belgrade. Big victory here. David McGillen with 46. No surprise. Meanwhile, we move on to Denver, Minnesota. Minnie has now won 3 straight to come back from a 3-0 deficit, and now Denver faces a reverse sweep.
That lineup change, though, did not help. Did not help Denver.
The bounder with a game score of 1. DD, are you worried?
I'm not worried. Chill out. I ain't worried.
He's not worried. I would be very worried. Cardiff has come back from a 3-1 deficit here in an overtime victory here. That must have been a crazy game to see. And now they go to a Game 7 as well. Jordan Fadjemison with a 36-point game coming off of a very bad one. Of course, though, Jordan Smith did get injured. He will be back. And we'll now take a look in the East here. Cincinnati advances, knocking out Rio. I'm shocked that they even lost games to Rio, and that concerns me more if I was Cincinnati. Umberto proving he is a superstar, of course. And we'll take a look here. We got another Game 7 as New York survives, putting Kentucky in a Game 7. You have a lot of very good Game 7s here. Uma plays horribly, but yet they win. That's kind of shocking. Rudolph with a 38-point game, though. Rudolph is Jordan Rudolph. And a 9-assist game from Sean Matthews off the bench. Meanwhile, Flint and Providence also go to Game 7. So many Game 7s here. It is Game 7 season.
And we're going to do all of them.
Yeah, and Detroit also getting to Game 7 here. All right, guys, so let me know in the comments. We got quite a few Game 7s. We got quite a few live watchers. Let me know. What Game 7 should we watch?
I just want to say congratulations to Melbourne for proving me wrong. I admit, I had Belgrade above them. I still do think that Belgrade had the higher ceiling of that series. However, Melbourne proved me wrong, and they showed
Tokyo,
that
Providence.
their consistency and quality really did deserve them the number 1 seed.
All right, guys, we're going to do the Tokyo-Cardiff game first, then we'll do the Providence game. So, Tokyo game. Dan, who you got?
I mean, you got to go with Cardiff on this one, right?
Goose, who you got?
Game 7.
Goose?
Oh, I was muted. My bad. I don't know either of the lineups, so I'm just going to say Tokyo.
I'm not going to comment as the GM of the team. We'll see. You guys know who I'm rooting for, though. Currently, Cardiff is up by substantial amount going into the fourth quarter. It is a 12-point game in the fourth quarter. It is still double digits with 5 minutes left, and it is a blowout with 2 minutes left, and it is over, and Cardiff does advance. What a series, though. 3-1 deficit. Cardiff does come back. Their first ever playoff series goes to 7. They did suffer an injury to Freddie Henderson. We're going to have to take a look at. And it's Fadge Mason that really got them there. Fadge Mason would be their MVP of the series, coming out big in all the games that they won. Taking a look here, Henderson is going to be back next game, so there's no worry there. Now we'll take a look at the other games to play live here. All right, next up here is Providence. This is a good matchup here. I like these teams. I think I got Providence. What do you guys got?
Providence.
All right.
Ricky Ring season all the way.
Providence leads by double digits after 1. By 4 after 2. Going into the 4th, he's down 5. He is down almost double digits with 5 minutes left. It is a double-digit game with 2 minutes left. It is still double digits with 1:33 left, and it is over. Flint survives. Dalston Miller goes down with an injury. We'll have to check on that. Dalston Miller will be back after game 1. All right.
Yeah, they wouldn't have won that unless they spewed out 3-point diarrhea.
So let's see. Kentucky. We'll do the.
Denver.
No, DD, that's last. The reverse sweep is coming last. If that happens, I'm gonna be dead. So that comes last. We're gonna do the Detroit-Charlotte game, which is the most boring of all the games we got so far. Who you guys got winning?
Charlotte.
I got Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's like, sure, I'll let you take this game.
Detroit down 2. Tie game at half. 3-point game in the 4th quarter.
This is what you want to see.
5-point game with 5 minutes left. 5-point game with 4 minutes left. Still 5-point game with 4 minutes left. Charlotte's up 7 with 2 minutes left. 6-point game. Gordon Hayward was shooting. He misses a free throw, hits a free throw. We'll see if they Detroit needs a basket here. Rex Patton steals the ball from Peterson. That's probably the game right there. Oh, they only made 1 free throw. It's an 8-point game, 55 seconds left. Stokes the board. Peterson at the rim. He scores. 6-point game. Lever, low post. He scores. That might be the game. Marcus Smart at the line. He misses a free throw. He makes one. But it is a 7-point game. Probably over. Yeah, Gordon Hayward, the dagger. And with that, Charlotte advances in a close game. In a great series, Detroit falls. Unfortunate for GM Hale State.
So, something I've noticed is that for the past 5 seasons, if I'm not wrong, the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference has been upset.
Is that true? Let me take a look. Cincy, yes.
Charlotte
was the... So Charlotte 2 years ago.
Charlotte just likes winning in that corner of the bracket.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Let's do Kentucky, New York. All right, Kentucky leads by 8. Kentucky leads by 5. Kentucky is held by double digits now. They've led all game. Still double digits. Still double digits. It is probably over. Yep, Kentucky will advance. They held the lead the entire game. Umut did not show up that much, finishing with 9 and 5. Vortex was probably their best point guard in the playoffs here. Though we do have an injury to West White we'll take a look at here. He'll be back for next game. All right, guys. It's time. Are you all ready? It is time to see projections for the Denver-Minnesota game. DD, who do you got?
He's going to say Minnesota.
Of course I got Denver. I told you I'm not worried.
All right, he is not worried. He's lost 3 straight, but he's not worried. Goose, who do you got?
I only have Minnesota because I want to see DD's reaction.
I agree. I also want to see DD's reaction. So, Minnesota. Dan, who do you want to see?
I've stuck with Minnesota this entire series. I still think it's going to be them.
Mini leads after 1. Mini leads after 2. Mini leads by 7 points after 3. DD, are you worried? No, he is not. 6 minutes. 1 point game. 3 minutes. Double digits. Oh! 1 minute, still double digits. Oh, Denver scores. They're only
They
down
scored by
8.
9 points in like a minute.
Yeah,
7-point game.
Denver scores again. 5-point game. Jordan Moss from Minnesota scores. Homer Simpson scores right back. Minnesota attempts to shoot. They're up 5. They score. Kevin Nando turnover. That's huge.
Might be more exciting than
Rushna
the
misses. Substitutes Kevin Nando at the rim. He gets blocked. Homer Simpson the rebound, keeping them alive, but then they miss. Yeah, that's game. Didi, you got 1 second left and you're down 7. Are you worried?
I think I'm worried now.
And
Gee, Minnesota.
yeah, another
You're
turnover.
second. Oh no, you lose.
Yep, Minnesota reverse sweeps Denver.
Please.
Oh, that's... Yo, where there's Minnesota, there's a way. Like, Minnesota has found a way to make deep playoff runs for so long now. All right, guys, we are in
I don't
our...
think they've missed any of the like semifinals for
We're-
like the past.
No. They missed the playoffs at one point.
Oh really?
Yeah, they missed for one season, I think.
Well, whenever they were in, they made it to like the semifinals. If I remember right.
This is where it really starts getting tricky. Who's going to win it? Cincy, Kentucky's going to be a fantastic series.
Yeah.
Flint, Charlotte, I do not know if it's going to be quite as good as Detroit, Charlotte.
All right.
Cardiff, Tijuana is going to be a tremendous series.
No.
Minnesota, Melbourne,
I
an insane
I am
series.
actually kind of hyped up for that Cardiff match. That one sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting.
Here we go. Game 1. Minnesota. We have 3 upsets in game 1. That's rare. All right. Minnesota beats Melbourne. All right. So Josh Jones was out, and McGillen scored 49, but they lost. Okay. Tijuana beats
No worries.
Cardiff by 2. LaMarcus Jefferson, of all players. It was one of his 2 baskets in the entire game. No, it was his only basket of the entire game. His other basket was a free throw.
You got to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
What can we say?
Charlotte beating Flint substantially.
I just think Flint is a little bit outmatched by
All right.
Charlotte.
So, guys, give me your X factors. Give me your predictions. We'll start with Dan.
Well, it's going to obviously be how David McGillen plays, because otherwise Minnesota's going to run away with this.
Mm-hmm.
And for Melbourne. And then between Cardiff and Tijuana, I personally think Tijuana has the edge as it stands. And, I guess the bench performance is going to have to show from Cardiff if they're going to really take a shot against a deep Tijuana team. Charlotte, I think, is just a little too much for Flint. I think they'll win fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And Cincy, Kentucky is so close to call, but you got to go with Axel Blaze and Kentucky if
Yeah.
there's adversity.
Goose, your predictions?
Yeah, the Melbourne-Minnesota match. I probably shouldn't do that this early. I'm going to save that for the playoffs, like later on. Melbourne is going to win.
All right.
I'll predict McGillen getting injured in the finals.
Melbourne with the victory. Tijuana has now taken 2 straight. Joe Karen is out for a game, though. We'll see if that changes anything. But Cardiff so far finds themselves running in molasses. Cincy up 2-0.
Obesity shouldn't count as an injury.
What?
Obesity shouldn't count as an injury.
Charlotte with 41-10. And Luke Ross with a huge game for Flint, but Flint is sunk once again. And we'll go into game 3 here, hoping for some real series developing outside the Minnesota series. All right, guys, we have a couple interesting developments. Minnesota has taken another game. David McGillen with just 35 as he fouls out in this one. Sawyer Howell outplays him for 39, and they actually finished with both of their stars getting double-digit assists here. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at Tijuana. They're now up 3-0, all on upsets here. Freddie Henderson scoring just 14, not taking advantage of Joe Caron's injury. Though Steph Curry having one of his best games of the season. Mark Alexander somehow led Tijuana in minutes. Kind of shocking there. And Joe Caron actually did play and had a big game. Probably being the X factor of that game. Kentucky picks up a shocking victory in blowout fashion. Alright. That happened. 48 points by Axel Blaze. Alright. And a triple-double from Guillen. Alright. We will now take a look at Charlotte's surprise 3 straight win upset. Gordon Hayward with the game winner. No surprise that it was Gordon Hayward. 40-point game from him. And Dalston Miller with just 9. Checking now for lineup changes to make sure nothing gets missed. Alright.
I really do think Charlotte is a contender.
Yeah, we'll see. Game 4. Alright. We got 2 upset sweeps here. Tijuana upsets and knocks out Cardiff. I was a big fan of Tijuana going into the season. It sucks that they upset my team big time, but Bill Murray, putting up a big season. Irfan with a strong playoff so far, and LaMarcus Jefferson doing randomly clutch things. And we'll go take a look here. Kentucky picks up their 2nd straight victory. Despite Luka Hewis going down for Cincy, Cincy is now in a pretty rough spot, and Axel Blaze is single-handedly leading Kentucky against them. That's kind of unfortunate. Charlotte knocked out Flint here, winning 101-99. Flint's stars just did not show up in the playoffs, and Gordon Hayward very much did. Rex Patton even had a bad game in Game 4, but it didn't matter. Meanwhile, Minnesota leads 3-1. That's kind of insane here. McGillen, 26 points. That's probably the lowest I've ever seen him score in a playoff game that he was healthy for. I think Minnesota might have that locked up. Guys, there's only 2 series left. Who do you got winning? Kentucky, Cincinnati, and Minnesota, Melbourne.
I'm back. Oh, Tijuana.
I stand by everything I said earlier.
All right.
So...
Both series are slated for Game 6. Melbourne does pick up the victory over Minnesota, this time in convincing fashion. But McGillen gets hurt! McGillen gets hurt!
I should have saved it. I really... Wait.
Hey, Melbourne won this game with McGillen getting 1 point.
Before. He was injured
I would just
last
like to
game.
point out.
No, because he played
McGillen
this game.
got a single point, and they still won by 20. So,
wow.
What happened?
Goose, at the beginning of the series, said, I predicted McGillen will get hurt at the end of the series. Here we are.
I was trying to save it because I thought that would be just bad.
Bad juju.
Yeah,
BB Kinney and King go off, and Cincinnati will take a lead here. Axel Blaze scored 55, and it wasn't enough. I don't know if Kentucky's going to be able to hold on here. We will see Game 6. All right, guys, we got our conference finals matchups. Minnesota winning in convincing 40-point fashion. No surprise there. Sawyer Howell with a strong playoffs. J.D. Bell with a good game as well off the bench. Meanwhile, taking a look at Cincinnati over Kentucky here. Axel Blaze, he gave them nightmares, but when it came down to it, he only scored 24 points. And with that, we got a Cincinnati-Charlotte battle, and we got a Tijuana-Minnesota battle. Tell me, Dan, your predictions and X factors for each series, and then Goose, you're up after him.
Well, I think it's going to be Irfan on Tijuana, and it's going to be how well he can defend some of the big Minnesota scores. But ultimately, I think Minnesota doesn't just runs away with this one.
Goose?
Cincinnati versus Charlotte, it's going to be tough. I like Charlotte. I just really like Charlotte. And I love Gordon Hayward. I think he's going to be the X factor. And it's tough for me to say this, Charlotte in 7.
Oh, wow.
Goose?
Sipping for Charlotte. Tijuana and, well, I guess Charlotte as well, so I guess that means I'm also sipping.
I'm going to say Cincinnati and Minnesota. Let's see who's right. Game 1.
I actually like Tijuana.
Tijuana picks up the big victory. They win by 8 here. A strong effort, but slightly better performances on the Tijuana side. It caused them to pick up the victory. Cincy beats Charlotte by 4 points, expecting higher margins, but it turns out not. A monster game from Rex Patton and Gordon Hayward, but it's BB Kinney's monster game that answers right back with higher efficiency. And Cincy leads by 1. Game 2, here we go. All right, so we got Tijuana leading 2-0 here, beating Minnesota in kind of convincing fashion. 35 points from Bill Murray, and that was almost a double-digit game. Meanwhile, Cincinnati beating Charlotte by a big deficit here, despite okay play by Gordon Hayward and Patton. I shouldn't even say that okay play by Gordon Hayward. He shot below 33%. One of his worst games we've seen in the playoffs.
3-point, how do you expect to win when you shoot like that?
Meanwhile, hyper efficiency is what BB Kinney is good at here. 9 for 11. George Bush would be proud. And Gilgee with a 20 and 11 game, and a 23 and 11 game from King Price. Next up here, we go one more. Minnesota picks up
yeah, that's a convincing win.
The home side of the series may have something to say about it.
Yeah, and taking a look in the other way here, Charlotte with a big victory. They needed that. Kinney not having a bad game, McGilgee a huge game, but Gordon Hayward, the man, the myth, the legend.
Charlotte needs to get them in, they have to have 2 taps, otherwise Hewis is going to come back, and they might just lose that last game.
Minnesota with their second straight victory. Could they come back again? Oh, that's going to be so painful for Tijuana if they come back from that. Irfan had a great game. Bill Murray and Joe Karen as well. Raja Bell does go down, but we saw an incredibly great rebounding effort by Rushina and a really strong defensive effort from Jones, McDowell, and Howell. And Howell, of course, with the massive offensive game. And we go and we take a look here at Cincinnati winning a huge game. They really need this, and they've more or less put Charlotte on their back here. I don't know if Charlotte's got a choice or a real chance, especially with Hewis coming back next game. 37 from Gordon Hayward, but enough, and that's what they're going to keep running into. So we have one more game here. All right, so Cincy does advance. Going back to the championship, this is Billy's, second appearance, I think?
I think it's his third. I think he's 0-8 at the moment.
No.
And if Minnesota gets there, I don't think it's going to change.
Minnesota again, oh my God. Let's see. They went to the finals in 2024 and 2023. Let's take a look at what their record was. So I got to go to playoffs. They won 1 game against Anaheim and GM and they won 2 games against Carolina and GM Renem. We'll see if they are going to stand a chance against Minnesota or Tijuana here. With that, we'll take a look at that. This appears to be a battle of home court, but we'll see if the Bell injury plays into it here a little bit. Minnesota, of course, on home court right now, and they win! It is a battle of home court. Every team with home court has won. Tijuana, of course, now does have the home court, but we will watch this Game 7 in this very defensive, high-quality series. Who do you guys got, Minnesota or Tijuana?
Tijuana.
Let me know in the comments section as well, guys. Who do you got? All right.
Wow. An instant 3.
Yeah, and then on my end it stopped working. So there's that. 1 second.
Instant shutdown.
Oh, all right. It's alive now. I'll probably have to export it and re-upload potentially. We'll see. All right, so going into the third quarter here, it is incredibly low scoring and a slight lead for Minnesota. Entering the fourth, it is, wow, an incredibly low scoring game, but Minnesota leads. Runesha is hurt, though, But so is LaMarcus Jefferson. Each team missing a starter, though Raja Bell is also out for Minnesota. Foul-wise, do we have any major concerns? 3 players with 3 for Tijuana, but that's probably not going to pull a difference. We'll do 6 minutes into the quarter here. It is a 9-point game. Tijuana is quickly losing their chance at a comeback. It is an 8-point game with 3 minutes left. It is a 9-point game with a minute left here. Minnesota, against all odds,
Oh my goodness, it's a 5-point game now.
Minnesota just turned the ball over. Joe Karen at the rim. He misses. McDowell the rebound. I'm going to pause it there.
Is there anything
Mimica
more
steals
cool?
the ball. Foul Karen at the line. He hits 1. He hits 2. 3-point game. Bill Murray steals the ball. Mimica for 3. No good. It misses. The game's over. What a comeback attempt by Tijuana at the end there. Bill Murray steals the ball and Mimica misses. Oh. Wow.
We had another sweep.
So with that, guys, Minnesota is into the finals for. Give me 1 second here. I just need to count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is their 8th time in 9 seasons.
Oh.
Yeah, we can look at league history and you can see just how ridiculous it is. They have made the finals since 2035 every single season. Oh, no, they didn't make it last year. They did not make it last year.
The 2035 one, I think, was the first one I actually was here for. Or that or Dallas.
So every season but last year, they have made the finals. That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm actually going to export the league file and reload it because my Chrome is eating up an insane amount. Apologies, guys. You'll probably see it momentarily disappear. Chrome is just incredibly resource heavy.
You know, I think Minnesota's going to pull this one off, but now is the chance. Billy, it's the time for where the magic needs to happen.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm just going to close out some extra processes as well, and then we'll.
3 and 8 will not cut it anymore.
To be completely honest, I don't like either of these teams.
I like
do it.
Minnie's chances, honestly.
I just don't like Mini
much
because
better.
they've taken
I got Cincy in 5. What do you guys got?
I've got Minnie in 6.
Well, I guess I have Cincy winning.
Cincy leads by 2 at the.
And I think. Wait, we can't actually see it.
Oh, you guys can't see it?
No.
Can the live stream see it? Oh, the live stream can't see it yet. Interesting. My bad, guys. Good call out, Goose. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Minor technical issue. Boom. There you go. It's back. Sorry about that. Can you guys see it now?
Oh.
Not in Discord.
Alright, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Alright. So, as you guys can see, so far, Cincinnati is trailing Minnesota with 6 minutes left. We will simulate 3 minutes.
Oh gosh.
Tie game.
100 to 100.
1 minute.
3 minutes
Cincy
left
has
to go.
scored 6 straight, and B. Kinney just stole the ball. B. Kinney for 3. He scores 9 points in a minute. Though Minnesota scores there. Luka Hewis at the rim. He scores, answers right back. That might be the dagger, potentially. We'll see. Hewis to Kinney. Kinney misses. Sawyer for 3, misses. Gilgy the rebound. Gilgy for 3, misses. Raja Bell the rebound. Josh Jones for 3. It's good. 6-point game. Splash at the rim. Blocked by Josh Jones. Gilgy the offensive board. Gilgy at the rim. No good. McDowell the rebound. Sawyer for 3. No good. Misses. That's game. And Schuler at the line. He hits 1, misses. But Cincinnati takes game 1. That was closer than I expected. Game 2.
I don't know when, but I'm just predicting Howell gets injured at some point.
Cincinnati has held the lead most of the game here, and after a strong first quarter, and With 6 minutes left in the game, it is double digits. I don't know if Minnesota could come back from this. It doesn't look like it. And we will see Cincinnati take game 2 as well. They're now up 2-0 against Minnesota here. Minnesota's reign of terror on the West, though, absolutely insane.
Minnesota's home now, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, they've historically done much better in the home. They're only down by 10 as the fourth quarter starts. They're now down by 7?
7.
With 3 minutes left, Minnesota has come back with a huge fourth quarter. We'll do 1 minute. Minnesota is now up by 4. Splash for 3, 1 point game. Howell scores, or Howell passes to Milsa, who scores. Gilgy at the low post misses. Ben Wallace at the rim. He throws it down. That is a poster right there. 5-point game. Let's see. King Price turns it over.
More telling of the finals than a Minnesota poster over B.B. Kinney.
Josh Jones at the line. He hits 1. He hits 2. 7-point game. King Price low. Blocked by Big Ben. Josh Jones misses this time. Schuler at the rim. Dunks on Josh Jones. That's actually rare. BK stealing the ball. They're down by 5. King Price for 3. He hits it. 2-point game. 5 seconds left. Foul on Schuler. Jones at the line. He hits 1. If they hit this other one, it's over. He missed it. Gilgy the rebound. Schuler for 3. It's good. Overtime. All right.
0 seconds. That should be a foul. Cheater.
All right.
Using the game system.
2-point lead for Cincy.
Yeah. With 1
2-point lead for Mini. This is what it's all about, my friends.
We'll bring it down to 47 seconds left. And is a 3-point game. Cincy for 3. It's good. Tie game. 28 seconds left. Raja Bell for the lead. Misses. Gilgy the rebound. BB Kinney low post. Misses. Josh Jones at the buzzer. Blocked by Price. Stewart the defensive rebound. 2 overtimes. God, this feels like I'm in PHL again. In case you guys aren't aware, in the PHL playoffs, we had a triple overtime finals game. It's very low scoring. 2 goals the entire game.
I was so mad.
Or 3 goals the entire game, and it went for like 35 minutes or something. It was an insane game. It was the majority of the sim. All right, King Price here stealing the ball. We'll bring it down to less than a minute left. All right, so we got 2-point lead by Cincy. Minute 18 left. Howell low post ties the game. Gilgy mid-range at the line. He hits both. Minute left. J.D. Bell ties the game. Gilgy for 3. It's good. 3-point lead. Cincinnati, Minnesota with the ball. Howell low post. It scores. 1-point lead Minnesota. Foul on Milsa. Gilgy at the line. He hits 1. He hits 2. It is a 3-point game. Luka Hewis steals the ball from Bell. Price at the line. He hits both. That might be game. 19 seconds left. Josh Jones for 3. He misses. That is game.
Yeah,
And with that, in double overtime, Minnesota does lose at home, and they are now down 3-0 and on verge of being swept. What a game. Yeah.
That 1 3-pointer right at the end of regulation.
Oh, wow. McDowell got hurt in that game, and Howell played 55 minutes. Yeah, Howell with one of the single greatest individual finals games ever. McDowell will miss game 4 as well. That's probably game, but we'll see.
Should have predicted McDowell.
Minnesota deciding not to die so fast.
Minnesota's blowing them out here. Minnesota might take a game. Yeah, Minnesota takes a game.
They just straight up took a dump on
without
their face.
McDowell healthy, they took a game. Jordan Moss is back for the first time in a while, and there they are, picking up a big victory. Cincy leads 3-1. You guys think there's any chance that Minnesota comes back from this?
No.
The reverse sweep in the finals? Go for it.
It would be their second reverse sweep of the playoffs.
I believe in you, Minnie.
And their third 3-1 comeback. Minnesota leads big after 1. Minnesota has all... Oh, Howell gets injured.
Told you.
That's probably game. Minnesota
I
still
literally
leads by double
told you guys
digits.
he was going
Minnesota
game.
leads by 7. Can they hold on? Minnesota leads by 13. I think they're going to hold on this game. Yep, Minnesota will hold on this game.
White.
Howell is back. Howell is back. It is a 3-2 series. The comeback looks real. Minnesota could make another amazing comeback. Never count Minnesota out. Can they do it? After 1, they lead by big. They lead big. After 2, they lead big. After 3, it's a 7-point lead. It is 8 points. 5 minutes left.
Right now for,
Minnesota leads by double figures with 2 minutes left. With 1:13 left, they lead by 9. McDowell scores again. Yeah, that's it. And they'll pick up the. Yep. Minnesota has done it. They have come back from a 3-0 deficit in the finals.
Twice this playoff.
Yeah,
Wow.
This is insane. I've never seen something like this before, guys. What do you guys think? Do you think Minnesota can do it?
If they win this will go down as one of the most impressive performances by a playoff team ever.
Yeah.
Let's just look. They beat Denver. They beat McGillen, number 1 seed Melbourne. Then they beat Tijuana.
At halftime, Cincinnati is up 4 in Game 7. Both teams are healthy. Injuries are non-excuse here.
Alright.
Halfway through the third quarter, Cincinnati leads by double figures. Cincinnati is still up by double figures with 12 minutes left in the game. It is an 11-point game with 9 left. It is a 10-point game. The lead is getting smaller with 6 minutes left. 10-point game with 5 minutes. 10-point game with 3 minutes. 9-point game with 2 minutes left. With 1 minute left, it is a 12-point game, and I think it is relatively safe to say, we'll turn on the live sim here, I think it is safe to say Cincinnati has won their first ABA championship. Minnesota did not make it easy on them. They almost blew a 3-0 lead, but Cincinnati does take the championship. Congratulations, Billy. Well deserved.
Let's go and look at the stuff.
Gilgy, Finals MVP. McGillen probably going to win MVP. We'll see what the voting says on this one. Actually a fairly good run by Gordon Hayward to potentially get in there. We'll see. Defensive Player of the Year going to be contested. I think Harden's definitely got 6th Man of the Year locked up, and I think Parks has definitely got all rookie team looked up.
Oh, yeah.
It says Eric Jackson of Detroit should win the most improved player. I'll be honest. Look for that to potentially be an upset spot. We'll see. Karl Anthony Towns does retire, probably a Hall of Famer. We'll see on that soon. Nolan Young retires. McPherson Thompson on Miami retiring. And I'll unretire Max Powers right now. And then we'll do the lottery here. Perhaps the most notable retirement is at the age is that Richard Hopkins finally retires. He was actually on Minnesota earlier this season. And I will, of course... does anyone remember what team Max Powers was on?
Is he on New York?
I think it was Kentucky. Oh, yeah, we're completely divided.
Yeah, let's find out. Atlanta.
Atlanta.
All right. Hey, man, that's what happens when you get that old.
You take what you can get.
Yeah, you take the offers that present themselves. All right, guys, so here's the draft lottery. As you can see, quite a few picks. What we're going to do here...
I mean,
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. But I have literally no picks in any time in the future. So draft lottery for me is probably a no-go. Thank you for having me, George.
We have yet...
It was a fantastic playoffs.
It was.
Those finals were insane. Congratulations to Billy. And really just fantastic work by them building this team. And great kudos to Minnesota.
We got our first jump. Miami has jumped into the top 4.
So if San Diego gets those top 2 picks.
Oh!
Switched out
San Diego jumps.
Stanford, Jung won.
San Diego and Miami have both jumped into the top 4.
Oh my goodness.
Pittsburgh lands at 5.
Oh.
Bosnia at 4. That means Utah, San Diego, and Miami are still around. Utah gets 3. 2 to San Diego, and Miami gets pick number 1. I believe the last time they had the first...
I was trying to pull strings to get that number 2 pick, but I didn't know who had it.
Alright,
It
guys.
kept flying around.
This is a pretty solid draft. Arvydas Sabonis, DJ Williams. I personally would like to see Sabonis go number 1, but I don't know. It depends on what Billy thinks is best for his team. We could also see Oldie Williams potentially going in the top few, and
we also
Gasol.
have 53 something coming in, so he's going to be in the top 5 likely.
All right, and with that, I will export the league, and we will get a mod to post it, guys. Thank you, and have a great one.